Hey guys, just a short video update to let you know that Cyberpunk 2077 has been updated with a hotfix, this one being version 1.04, and you can already download it from GOG, Steam, or Epic Games, depending from wherever you bought the game from. But it's important to note that the GOG version is actually smaller at around 500 to 600 megabytes, because they have compressed all of the data, so don't worry about that. If you're going to see that friends of yours who have it on Steam or Epic Games need to download something around 1 to 3 gigabytes, I can't remember exactly, they're the very same patch and you're getting the very same updates, and patch notes are of course going to be in the video description for that. But basically what they've done, they've compressed the version on GOG just to make it easier, so yeah, you can be happy for that if you happen to have a slower internet connection. But more on the GOG version, if you're going to download this update, you should also know that you need to have about 50 to 60 gigabytes, but I would say 60 because that's definitely better if you want to install the update, and that's just because of how GOG and the Cyberpunk 2077 version from GOG works. It basically needs to reinstall all of the assets that it has. That's kind of my understanding so far. So you're going to need 60 gigabytes to be able to install it. And I'm also going to tell you about another issue that I found on Reddit, and this was sent to me by one of my friends yesterday night whilst I was playing Cyberpunk 2077. He said that he couldn't install the 1.04 update just because it was stuck, and I asked him like, hey, do you actually have this game on an SSD? And he was like, no, I have it on my hard drive. So again, do note that Cyberpunk and the developers, so CD Projekt Red, they have mentioned in the minimum requirements that you need to play that, well, that it's recommended to have an SSD even for lower end systems. So that seems to me that is causing the issue. So perhaps try porting the game to an SSD if you have access to one and see if this works. Either way, like I was saying, the patch notes for the update are going to be in the video description, but all in all, it's fixing some texture pop-in, some quest issues, and of course characters just popping in and out. But of course, it might be that you're still going to see those things happening from time to time. Now, the next thing I would like to talk about is, of course, that the game performance might improve in the upcoming period, so don't give up on it just yet. And speaking of extra performance, I can tell you that I've found an interesting thing on Twitter. I don't know exactly who created it, but you're going to see where I found it from, basically. So we're not technically going to get an update from Hardware Unboxed, like one of their videos where they show us which settings we can change to not lose much visual fidelity from a game and still get an extra boost of performance. To my understanding, Steve is like super tired at this point because he has made a ton of videos talking about Cyberpunk, and of course it's the whole Nvidia issue going on at this moment. But still, if you'd like to get extra performance and at a minimal visual quality loss or visual fidelity loss in this case, I'm going to share in the video description a link to the tweet where I found some interesting things about the game. So I believe you could change volumetric fog, of course, in this case, the cascade, shadows, rolling, whatever they called it. So all of those things, you're not going to be losing a lot of performance, but you're not going to lose a lot of visual fidelity, but again, you're going to gain some extra FPS. So definitely interesting. And if you don't have any problems with the game so far in terms of either performance, visual fidelity, or whatnot, then how about I tell you that you can make this game look even better with some mods that have come out. And if you remember, I've already talked about mod support in one of my other videos that I've done around here, and this one is actually about a reshade mod. Of course, I've also found another one on NexusMods. I think it was called something about simple realistic light, something like that, for Cyberpunk. It's going to be on in the video description and on screen right now as well. Both of those look mind-boggling, like completely nuts. If you thought that Cyberpunk looks amazing, and of course if you have the hardware to play it at a nice visual quality, and if, like I was saying, if you thought that this looked nice, then this update is going to blow it out of the water pretty much. And I can't wait to try it out myself, because So far, I had a really good experience. I haven't experienced any crashes with the game. I have had no issues so far, so I'm definitely going to test it out, perhaps today, if not tomorrow. Depends on how much time I'm going to have, and I'm going to report back, but most probably it's going to be in the comments. I don't think I'm going to make a separate video talking about ReShade or the other mods that they have, if it's only regarding visual quality things. And perhaps also very interesting for you to note is that Cyberpunk has managed to sell a lot of copies of this game, 8 million pre-orders to be more precise. And this marks it, as far as I was able to understand, as the number one as the number one game with the most sold copies right now, even managing to outsell Rockstar's GTA 5 at this point, expecting that they have managed to sell even more copies in the meantime, because those have been only the pre-orders, and GTA 5 has managed to sell about $800 million worth of GTA 5 copies with the pre-orders and the day one sales. So I'm not sure what the day one sales looked like for Cyberpunk, but it's important to know that, hey, they managed to cross yet another milestone. But it's perhaps most interestingly to also think about how many of those copies are going to get refunded, and not only because of the visual issues that there are on Xbox and PS4 especially, but also of the relaxed, should I say, refund policy that GOG has installed for not only for this game, but I believe last year or this year they installed they made it so that they changed their policy so that even if you play a game to its full extent, especially for Cyberpunk 2077, I think this applies, even if you play the whole story and you're within the 30 days, if you would like to cancel your order, basically you can. So I do expect there are going to be some people that are going to do this, and yeah, it's kind of sad to think about it, but you know, it does happen. So I don't know what else to tell you. I'm going to have to think if I'm going to find some more information about this game in the upcoming days, and be sure that you're going to find all of the information with regards to updates, game stability, and I'm going to be making some new benchmarks if I see that that some things have changed majorly in terms of FPS. And speaking of that, you can already see the video that I've done with the 8700K and the RTX 3070 that I have in my system. So that's pretty much been it. If you guys would like to see some other videos today, because I happen to talk about technology and gaming quite a lot on my channel, then definitely go and check out my other videos. Either way, this has been Alex with the Red Elk, and I kind of have a sore throat, but you know, it does happen. Thanks you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.